Telesford, good morning. Of course, myself and Inspector Lambert just having a bit of a conversation over here this morning. Good morning to, of course, our listeners via Classic Radio, viewers via GBN TV. Good morning. Also, our listeners and viewers via social media platforms. Good morning to you also. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Thursday, and it's the 19th day of February. 2026. Good morning, one and all, once again. Inspector Lambert, good morning and welcome. How are you this morning?
Good morning, GT. I say I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm home.
It seemed to be like a regular thing, right? You did promise the last time you were here you will be back soon.
Yes. And good morning to the listening public. Good morning to everyone.
All right. Well, should I say happy independence and everything?
Yes.
Okay, I say that. I probably should say, did I have you in the new year or was it the latter part of last year?
The latter part of last year for our youth head operation.
Yes.
So that was not so long ago.
So I should say happy new year to you too.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So our focus conversation this morning, we talk about the operation of the Central Division. This should be of a lot of interest to our listeners, and so this morning, who would like to understand the overall function of the division? Because sometimes we hear of divisions and we're not sure the functionality and what really takes place. You understand? So we're going to talk a wee bit about that this morning, and of course we're expecting another, guest with us this morning. Not in the studio as yet, but should be in with us shortly. Hopefully.
Yes,
should be in with us this morning. So of course I did mention your name, News Inspector, of course Lambert. You heard me, of course, as we talk about the utility season. You did speak about the operations. So here this morning, we want to talk about, let's talk about the composite of the composition per se of the Central Division, head of the station and so forth. I know you can share that information with us just in case there are individuals who are looking forward to that bit of information this morning.
Yes, GT. So Central Division is stipulated in law. The law divides Grenada into different policing areas, and so this is a legal construct: Central Division, Northern Division, Eastern Division. That's in the law, and so it spells out the jurisdiction of Central Division and what areas Central constitute Central Division. Right. So Central Division comprises the areas within the St. George's area. St. George's. So it actually aligns with some of the parishes boundaries. It actually aligns.
So when you say central, does it mean that it's the head of command per se? If you can put it in that, you would not redesignate that.
I do not know why the law called it Central Division.
Yeah.
It could be because we man and we police the critical infrastructure, the central institutions for our state institutions, right? The capital, right? So I think it aligns with the importance of the division and the geographical area that it is mandated to cover.
Understandable, sir.
Right? We know our capital is, right?
Of course, it's St. George's.
It's St. George's.
So it cannot coincide.
It coincides with the mandate of the division. And then we have the Eastern, which covers St. Andrews and so forth. So the law just logically divides the country. I think so that for manageability and accountability, right? So it gives us our boundaries, policing boundaries, and spells out what areas that we are mandated to cover. So the Central Division has 4 stations. 4 stations. So within the division we have subdivision as well, further subdivisions. So that all areas are covered. So we have Central Police Station, we have South St. George Police Station and St. Paul's Police Station. We also have a little known station called Mount Royal Police Station that specifically mans the security of the Prime Minister's area up there at San Souci.
So that basically, so that's what's make up Central Division.
Yes, as spelled out in the law. Yes.
All right, understandable. So we are now in 2026, and I'm assuming the division has a lot of projections. Let's say for 2026. What are some of those projections? What are those projections for 2026 for the Central Division?
Right. So our projection aligns with the overall strategic plan of the RGPF. We have a strategic plan that spans the year 2024 to 2028. So we feed off of that. We also feed off our legal mandate, which is to sub and protect, detect crime, apprehend offenders, and so forth. So it aligns with our legal mandate and in the overall strategic plan. And it's continuous, I say it's 4 years, that is the strategic plan. And number 1 is community engagement, community policing, and this is one of the avenues which we translate that that strategic agenda, our radio programs and so forth, and of course GBN partners with us in that regard, and we appreciate that. We also hitting the ground regularly as part of our work plans. So for example, yesterday our officers were in the Springs area.
I did notice
right?
that.
So it's not just we're just waiting for a call, but going out there and making our presence felt and reassuring the public. So community engagement is number one on our strategic agenda, and so Central feeds off of that as well. Then we have crime reduction. Last year, we did very well in terms of our solving rate. That is a big boast for the RGPF. Central Division met the challenge. We were challenged to have at least 80% solving rate, and we surpassed that.
All right.
So we are proud of that achievement. But the mandate going forward is just to improve that, but still reduce crime.
Yes. Because
solving is actually a reactive posture in terms of we respond to calls after a crime has been committed. And so we recognize that it's a strength, but we also want to reduce the amount of crimes that occurs within our division.
All right.
So these two are two of the main pillars, and then we have human resource development.
Yes.
Because of course the quality of our officers will translate to the quality of the policing service that we provide, and improving our infrastructure, working environment, and so forth. Right. But mainly in terms of the public, it is community engagement and crime reduction.
Okay, I understand. So,
yes.
Now you spoke of the community engagements. I want to, of course, focus on that a wee bit, and that is an important objective for the division.
Yes,
being able to go out there and speak to the various communities, because if the community and the police does not have that relationship or that partnership per se, nothing would get done or happen in a quick manner. You understand? If you don't have that communication or that partnership, folks will feel, well, I don't want to talk to the police because the police and the community doesn't have. There are countries where these relationships has no level at all.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
It's really do. And I'm assuming in Grenada it's not like that. It's not that as bad as other countries in other parts of the world. You understand? How has that been for the Central Division?
Right.
In terms of that partnership, that community engagement and so on, how has that been for this far?
Right. So we have just a little bit over 1,000 police officers.
Yeah.
And our population...
And that's within the Central Division?
No, the entire force, right? Okay. And then our population is 100,000.
What police are that, you know?
No, that's over 1,000. We are increasing the numbers. We are carrying to increase the numbers. But for now, so you see the ratio of police to population. Yeah. So it means therefore that it is impossible for us to be everywhere all the time, right? So I know GBN motto is everywhere, it's everywhere, anywhere.
Everywhere,
but yeah,
everywhere and everywhere.
Yes. Right. So it is impossible. So it means, by extension, that we must partner with the public, and sometimes we overemphasize the public, and it also means institutions, businesses, other stakeholders, right? Which all come under the ambit of the community. So, for example, the partnership we have with GBN, right, with Ministry of Social Development. So, engaging stakeholders and then the wider community on a whole is very, very important for us to achieve any of our successes.
All right. And this engagement has been giving you a lot of positive feedback.
Of course. We attribute 90% of our successes to our community engagement and the relationship that we have with our public. Yeah. And when we go out there, without being called or we just patrolling, the amount of appreciation we get from the public, just seeing us there, it's really awesome, and it really feeds us. It inspires us to do more. Yeah, so the public appreciates it, and we attribute our successes to that relationship. There is no place in Grenada that the police cannot go, unlike some other jurisdictions, right? But we are not saying that we are clapping our hands at that. We want, if the Caribbean is safe, by extension, Grenada will be safe. So we're not saying it's a good thing that other countries cannot do it, but we can boast that in Grenada we can go into any community, right, in our uniforms and speak to our community members.
How would a vision like to improve upon that, per se, especially with you said you had that mandate from 2024 up to 2028.
Yeah.
How would you like to improve on that a whole lot in terms of the level it's at right now? How would you like to improve on that?
Right. So we have upped our community patrols. We have upped it. So if we did 50 last year, the aim is to do more. Mm-hmm. So it's always more and more, because it will never be at where we totally satisfied.
Yeah.
So weekly, we are trying to put that in our work plan, at least going to the committee without being called, being there, just showing up, saying hi, just listening to the public, right? So we are translating that by our actual approach to policing, doing more of that. And of course, the aspiration is to, even though we have mobile stations in the community, going out there, right, even being more present, right? So it's an onward and it's an ongoing agenda that we are striving towards.
All right.
And this year, I mean, being here every week on week, being at the different, using social media as another platform to engage the community. So we're looking at all platforms, all medium, to engage and to meet all sectors of our society, the youths as well as the older population, meeting everybody at their place and at their point in time.
During those community engagement, what are some of those concerns that are sometimes brought into into the conversation with the communities and so forth that you visit? What are some of those important concerns you hear from time to time, and which once the division and all the divisions and all that, and I guess it's been communicated with all divisions too, because one concern from one community may affect another at time to time. What are some of those major concerns that you are highlighted from time to time?
Right. So interestingly, so when you go into the community, people would report things that they would not normally call the police to report. So they would speak about another issue they had with the neighbor that they wouldn't have normally called, right? So they would share just general concerns or something that the police didn't deal with, something that they weren't happy that the police
too much noise,
yes.
Stuff like that.
So interestingly, you will get a wider variety of reports than persons. People will come when they really think it's really important and they really want the police to come out. But when you go out there, all the little community issues in terms of things that they would not normally share, right? They feel confident to at least have that discussion.
All right. I mean, I'm sure these information are stored in a particular database that the the departments can always review from time to time and say, community X hasn't have that particular problem from time to time. Maybe we could have, officers visit that community at all times of the day and so forth.
Yes, until our approach to suit what the concerns of the public is.
All right, great. Yes. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio TV and TV. It's Thursday, the 19th day of February. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
Welcome to Cafe Lola, located at True Blue in St. George. The perfect place to study, celebrate, or simply unwind, where coffee meets elegance and every detail is made to delight. From fresh bakes to custom-made orders, cakes, waffles, pancakes, donuts, and many delicious, irresistible treats. They are your neighborhood cafe and bakery. Make Cafe Lola your go-to spot for fun, flavor, and to put a little sparkle into your life. Good vibes only. Opens Monday to Sunday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 12 midnight. Cafe Lola, your number one spot. Visit today. For more information, call 404-4446.
Planet, located at number 3 NIS Complex, specializes in everything for your children from newly born and upward. At Kids Planet, you will find clothing, school bags, hair accessories, sandals, shoes, strollers, car seats, bathtubs, baby bags, swings, walkers, playpens, and many more. So what are you waiting for? Hurry on down to Kids Planet and find what you have been looking for. Or call them on 444-3996 or 533-3996.
Camahorn Boat, a powerful multimedia production, presented at Carafesta 15, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs. One big performance only at the Grenada Trade Center on Saturday, 7th March at 7 p.m. The Camahorn Boat is the ship of state, Grenada, sailing to its destiny. The Camahorn Boat is a call for unity, an exciting story about patriotism, played out by Grenada's best acting talents, featuring Samuel Ogilvie, Robert White, Debbie Gilchrist, Bianchi Toussaint, Dillian Walters, and others. Come out and join us in celebrating our Grenadianness on Saturday, 7th March, 7 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Admission almost free. Advance tickets are $50, $65 at the door. Your ticket outlets: Giddens Pharmacy Grand Anse, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceline Mall, Mitchell's Pharmacy Grand Anse, 3B's Shoe Store, downtown St. George, and other places. Bring out the entire family and enjoy a wonderful Beautiful evening of Grenadian Theatre on 7th March at Grenada Trade Center, 7 p.m. Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. And joining us this morning, we have ASP, of course. Is it Campbell, right? ASP Campbell, Osborne Campbell with us this morning. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir, to the program this morning. Of course, myself and Inspector Lambert, we had a bit of a lengthy conversation already on the inside, but thank you for being with us this morning once again. And speak to us about, of course, Inspector Lambert did speak a whole lot about the Central Division and so forth. And our next line of conversation, we wanted to get a wee bit into, a bit of a review of 2025. In terms of the Central Division information you want to share with us in relation to that. Let's start off with the successes of 2025. And of course, I'll leave that up to you, sir, to start out with information off in this segment.
Thank you, GT. Pleasant good morning to my listening audience of GBN. Yes, so as you were saying, my name, I am Osborne Campbell. I have been police officer for over 30-something years, and it's a pleasure to be here. The successes of 2025, one of the areas we were very successful with was the solving rate of crime in Grenada. And it is a contribution from every divisional station. And so Grenada must be proud. We have had a goal that was set at about 70-75% solving rate, but we achieved over 80%.
Okay.
And it's a proud moment for Grenada. And as ACP of Crimes, Mr. Cohen would have boasted ever so often, we will continue to produce and will continue to do our best to see how much we can even acquire more for 2026.
All right. How has that boosted the morals of the various divisions just a wee bit in terms of the success rates?
Honestly, when we discuss morning briefs, right, every division speak proudly of the frontline officers, because we must compliment them, we must recognize them and commend them for the hard work that they are putting towards achieving this. And also, we do not want to leave the public out of it, right? The public have been they have been with us from ever since. Grenada has always been a peaceful place. We love to see what the neighbor is doing, and I mean, some people say they don't like people looking at their stuff, but at least, yes, but it's so important that when the neighbors could say to the officers, listen, I recognize somebody passed here this morning. The person was wearing this by that, and I think I know the person by that name.
Okay.
So it helps us to solve a lot of our crimes, and we just want to say hats off to you, the public, and we appreciate it, and we want you to maintain your friendly observations around the community, and always as we do our community patrols, don't be afraid, communicate with our officers, and that is how a lot of our crimes have been solved.
The success rate that we have, of course, achieved, how has that been for Grenada in general, especially, comparing it with other islands of the Caribbean? How has that raised the status of our island of Even?
When we listen to our officer in charge of crimes, he would have made mention that the region, some of the countries in the region would have touched base with us, because they were so shocked as to the percentage, the high solvent rate, and they were, in amazement how it is we get to solve all of these crimes. So it put us in the spotlight in the Caribbean, and we are very happy. But we don't want to boast about it. We still want to.
You don't want that stepping in at all.
No. So we are, continuing to work hard, and we are continuing to put our best foot forward, continuing the policing, community policing, and meeting with the public and engaging.
You speak a whole lot, of course, together with Inspector Lambert. I spoke about that a while ago. That partnership with the community, with various communities, plays an important role. How important is it for the various divisions, of the police to continue to build upon that particular? I like to call it the partnership. You understand? Refer to how important it is for the various division to build upon, and the Royal Grenada Police Force in general, to continue to build on that partnership.
It is important. One of the areas we fully concentrate on is the schools, because they are the youths of tomorrow, and we will have our liaison officers assigned to all the various schools within our district, and the other districts are doing that also, and we are getting the kids to perform their role in terms of discipline and to be different. We teach them many programs. We have presentations of drug awareness or cyber bullying, a number of things that will shape them for the future. So that will help, with the crime rate. It will help, and even as I speak to you, there are students who are actually playing the role of similar to what prefect is in a class, right?
I guess.
And they are disciplining the younger folks. They are disciplining senior ones who do not mature as yet, from bullying the young ones. And so it begins from there. So we are still working hard at it to maintain, the camaraderie with the community and to develop everyone in terms of the discipline and to have information reach out to us.
With every success story, there's always a challenge that comes around with it. There's always a challenge. Talk to me about some of the major challenges, the RGPF, the various division encounters from time to time, or still something that you wish that you didn't have to deal with in terms of those challenges.
In terms of offenses, we have some challenges as it relates to property crimes. And this is the area we are challenged a lot, because persons tends to steal from other persons, and our whole what we are trying to create or to assist the public in understanding is that you need to make your homes, your properties, and anything that you have be a sort of hard target. We don't want persons to easily see something that will attract the eyes, and then they will go and have some kind of crime commit. So the property crimes, the percentage
seems to be one of the
areas we are looking
challenges you still have.
That is one of the areas we
plans to put a curve in that 2026. Of course, a major curve in that for 2026. So we're going to see some major, activity from the RGPF in terms of trying to curve that.
Well, one of the things, as we spoke of earlier, is again the presence of our community armed officers, very regular to the different communities. I'm not sure. I think the inspector would have told you that we zone the district into different areas, and there are officers that are assigned to these areas. And almost every report, if possible, and every call for service, these officers will go to those districts to work, which means it will create a kind of relationship with the public. They will recognize this officer. Every time this officer comes along, he solves our problem, he works with us and so forth, and that will help in minimizing some of the challenges that we are having, because they will call him anything that they see. They will call him, they will speak with him.
You know, but sometimes you get the impression that the availability or the presence of police seems to not diminishing the problem, especially when in terms of theft and so forth. You know, is it that folks are saying, "Oh, we ain't free the police"? Because I understand what you're saying. The police and their presence and stuff like that is there, but we still see individuals challenging it for some reason or the other. For you know, the officers will be there, but as soon as they leave, the particular crime occurs again. What do you think is really the reason that? Is that folks are just decide they're going to just do what they want to do? Or is it the problem where, these offenses, they do not see the consequences of it as being tough enough? So are reasons for that? Would you agree with me by saying that?
From the prosecutorial background, can you speak in relation to that?
Well, crimes are opportunity, stealing are basically opportunity offenses.
Yeah.
In that when an opportunity arises, a tag, as the ASP says, your property is exposed, right? So we talk about the crime triad, the opportunity, the ability, and so forth. So you have the opportunity, you leave something unsecured, right? Persons are not looking. That is why it is so hard to solve, because the person chooses the opportunity when no one is looking. So you cannot give the police a description of the perpetrator. You cannot remember what the last time you had the money in the bag. I know I packed it there, and then when I checked 2 days after, so you can't really pinpoint the exact moment. So it is, while you are unaware, unsuspecting, this person is looking, praying for that opportunity, looking for that perfect timing. So that is why one of the focus on solving property crime is education, because it's very often hard to identify who did it, when, where, and so forth. And in the absence of cameras and so forth, where you can go back and look, it's very difficult to solve.
I understand from that point of view, but my take on it is how I'm looking at it. Consequences for your crime will also make a help in terms of a deterrence. If you get the direction I'm going. If I know that I commit this particular crime, and you talk about the success rate in terms of individuals who are caught and stuff, and if I see X had a very tough time by going to His Majesty prison, and he probably came out and said, hey, it was not a very good experience, that will work as a deterrent to me. Do you think the consequences for what the individuals get from committing those crimes are not tough enough, maybe? So it's not deterring them from not wanting to commit those crimes. Consequences
are outside of the police hands, right? Once we are only tasked to be the impartial investigator, we investigate and we send the matters to the court. So consequences, the law lays out what the consequences are, and is the magistrate and the judge to administer that justice, right? So we cannot really comment on whether penalties are harsh or harsh enough. We cannot do that. That is something for the judiciary to decide upon. But we're speaking about our solving rate for property offenses, right? When we solve them, we lodge them before the court for justice to be administered. But our solving rate in terms of being able to identify who the perpetrators are, that is where we have a challenge, because we must solve it to bring it before the court and get a perpetrator to charge. So that is where our challenge lies.
All right. But I'm just talking about sometimes you see the repeated offenses from time to time. You solve it. You may solve it with X, having him or her arrested, but then you see him or her come back again. So that's why I'm saying maybe the penalties or the consequence of committing those crimes maybe is not as serious for them. So I can do it again. You understand?
In 2012, the laws were amended in terms of steeper penalties for stealing, for rape. A number of all of the offenses mostly had an overhaul in terms of penalties. So I know that
overhauled again.
So it's how it is applied at at the judiciary level. That is something to look at, and then we have to look at other societal factors in terms of poverty. Some persons are released from prison, they cannot get a job, so they're left with the recourse of just having to steal. They're shunned in society. So I think it's a big conversation that we need to have about why people we have a recurring offenders or recidivists. I think it's a whole of society approach that we need to see not only from the judiciary, but how do we treat persons when they come back? Are they able to be integrated back into society and live a law-abiding life?
They really are, in terms of going to the prison and the rehabilitation and process and so forth. That really works.
And how do we accept them back into society? Most people wouldn't employ somebody who was released from prison. I mean, it's hard to get a job. Then what is the recourse? So we have to look at it in a real balanced way, and then to look at the whole of society solution.
Okay. We're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the pretty short break. Don't touch it out.
Good.
The countdown is on for the most exciting relay showdown in the nation. The IMA National Relay Meet, started for Saturday, February 21st, 2026, 3 p.m. at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come witness speed, relentless competition, and heart-pounding relays that will keep you at the edge of your seats from start to finish. The island's fastest teams will battle for glory, but who will rise to the top and claim the prizes? You have to be there to see live. Admission finish line $50, main stand $30, secondary stand $20, and bleachers $15. Children 12 and under pay $15 for main and secondary stands and bleachers. Get your tickets. Feel the speed. The IMA National Relay Meet 2026, the ultimate relay experience.
My name is Dr. Abigail Noel, and I am the head of department at the Accident and Emergency Department. One thing I love about Mount Sinai is their spirit of collaboration. They came in with ideas that have transformed our department in real time. The implementation of ID bands for every patient that comes through the emergency department. That has decreased patient errors. They have implemented defibrillators on every ward. Thus far, 128 staff members have been trained in defibrillator use. The huddle system is basically small meeting with all team members. It improves communication between staff members as well as with patients. This transformation means everything to the emergency department and by extension the health system of Grenada.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. With me this morning, we have officers from the Central Division this morning. And we into deep conversation, of course, and certainly we'll give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers, shortly opportunity if you do have a question or two that you may like to ask. Officers, welcome back once again. I want to switch my conversation to the role of citizens, especially including community policing groups and so forth. How important is that in terms of the role of citizens with the police?
If you leave the citizens out of police business, you will recognize we may not be able to solve crime. All right, and so the role of citizens with the police is very crucial, and that is why we have community policing as one of our pillars that we invested in. And we have also groups of that would form an association with the police, and what we do is we try to see how we can solve problems within that community. There is the CAB, which is the Citizen Advisory Board, and other stakeholders, and it's very fruitful because what happens is that we all try to come together to form events, socialized events, with the community, especially the youth, to keep them occupied. We probably will find a project to do with the community, and that project will involve community members and the youths and so forth. And as long as we are doing all of these social events together, what is happening, the citizens and the public are building relationship, right? When we complete some projects, sometimes we leave there with 5, 6, 7 new numbers from the public person that we could now have conversation with. They can call the police, call the station, and refer to something that they were concerned about. So the citizens have a pivotal role to play with the police.
All right. But these community policing groups, how functional are they in most areas?
Do you want to answer?
Yes, we need persons to be more engaged in our groups. We have a citizen advisory body, and we're making the call for persons to express interest. You can call the station. That's where the citizens, members of the community, as we say, whatever division, we spread out the areas, right? That Central Police area is mandated to serve. And we want to there's a board of citizens that form into a group, and we will meet on a regular basis with the police, and they will advise us to what they think the police can do, what are the issues that are recurring in the community, and so forth. So it's a formal, organized group, we have formal structure and so forth. So we want to allow persons use that opportunity to let persons know that they too can become involved in our citizen advisory body. And
I'm assuming if individuals are interested in being part of these groupings, this is a process for getting into those groupings?
Yeah, of course. First of all, expressing interest, right? We don't discriminate in terms of status, class, or anything. Everybody have unique skills and things that they can offer, so there's no discrimination. Only that, of course, you must be able to contribute and willing to partner with the police in a meaningful way. So, expression of interest, committing your time and yourself and so forth to work together with us in that formal structure, in that formal environment.
All right.
Yes, but we do need more participation in that regard.
Right. And I'm guessing you're not looking at it in terms of specific divisions, but island-wide to say if that can occur.
Yes, there are cabs in every division. Every station have their own cab as well. So Central Police Station has its cab, right? So ideally, we want persons within the jurisdiction of the Central Police for Central Police Station, for St. Paul's, people who understand the community and who come from the community. So ideally, we want persons within our policing district area.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great. We certainly hope that folks listening to this program this morning will certainly get involved, because the more the communities get involved, it takes a lot of load off the officers, will say.
Yes, and they too can shape, right, our policing posture and what they want us to, our priorities and so forth. So it's a very nice position to have in terms of partnering with us in this very tangible way. Of course, when we go out, we meet persons, but this one is a more long-term, formal, structured type of relationship. Right? So we have different ways, but aside of that, persons can still become involved, as the ASP say, call with information, see something, say something. And also at that point, citizens be knowledgeable about the offenses, and when offenses are committed are also important, right? Be knowledgeable. Knowledge. For example, for last year, one of our trending crimes was assault, threatening language, prevalent offenses, or property crimes as well. So the trending offenses for Central Division, causing harm, assault, threatening language. Right, so we see the spectrum of violent offenses, and so we have these 2 murders, and we speak about this is the more dangerous end of the spectrum of violent offenses. But we see the lower ones trending a lot in terms of the lower level violent offenses, and we speak about violence against women, other type of violence, but day to day, right, it is prevalent in our society on a lower level form. So we want persons in their engagement with each other to be more civil, to avoid use of threatening language, to avoid assault. Call the police instead of taking the law in your own hands. So these are the little things, besides speaking and going out and meeting the public day by day, is to have an informed citizenry, right? And knowledgeable citizenry that understands when the law is being breached, right? And to avoid and to intervene via voice when these things are happening. So you may see your neighbors engaging in conflict, you can say, look, stop that. You can be a peacemaker, right? So these are the other ways that we can indirectly partner with the police, because yes, as the ASP said, our solvent rate is up there, but really we want to reduce crime, and we've been charged by headquarters to crime reduction. Solving is good, but we want to reduce it from happening in the first place.
I mean, I'm happy how you mentioned that, because, as you said, there are a lot of folks in the community may see particular incidents occurring and may see it as not being offensive for various reasons. Maybe there's nothing. A neighbor telling someone something, someone using the obscene language and all these things. All of those are offenses. And sometimes we brush it across because we view it as regular conversation or regular talk. Or someone may have a cutlass and say, I will do you that, but may not have done anything. But these are offenses.
These are precursors to the more violent murders and so,
yes.
right? And I'm saying we have way too much harm offenses, way too much violence. I do not know. I say we need to have a bigger picture in terms of, is it cultural? Is it what? A bigger conversation, a deeper conversation. But these are the trending offenses for the Central Police Station, harm offenses, assault, threatening language. And we need our citizens to be aware and to help mitigate and be involved in conflict resolution so we have an overall more peaceful and safer society.
There's always that concerns from citizens, per se, in terms of the confidentiality of information shared with the police. And we speaking, of the Central Division. How important does the division, take care of sensitive information from citizens and the confidentiality of the information shared? How important is that for the division?
Oh, this is a very important situation. Police officers, from the inception of your recruitment, you are expected to be taught about confidentiality as a police officer.
Yeah.
And the division, at my helm, my superintendent spoke about it in my last meeting, and it is something we always address because we know how important it is. It will either make or break us, and so we do not wish to allow such practice to continue in our organization. If we want to have that camaraderie with the public to help us continue to solve crimes, we need to be confidential.
Yes.
So it's an area of very high importance on our agenda.
All right. Anyone want to expand on that?
Well, I just want to add the issue of social media and how, even before some police reports it, right? It's there, right? We were just laughing at a joke recently where somebody called and said there was some teeth found in some suitcase. And before it was on a particular social media, and it was just a dog that was in the suitcase, right? But it was there as if human teeth is found and so forth. So sometimes you think it's the police, it is not. Sometimes because the speed at which information is shared. So social media has created an additional challenge for us, so we want the public to be mindful that it is not always, if something comes out, it may not always be from the police end. Right, but we understand the importance of it, but that is a challenge we have now.
Well, everyone walks around with a phone that has a camera and makes a video, and before they try to assist somebody, make a video.
Exactly.
You understand? And sometimes the nature of it, you think folks get the impression maybe the police have done that. Yeah. And folks are crafty in terms of delivering information these days. They could use a police letterhead and give everybody impression that information is correct.
Just about to tell you. Yeah, so we have these challenges, as the inspector would have said, and as you alluded to there. The thing is, some of the information you see, even on newspapers, on the Facebook, and so, you might say, hey, the police leaked that information. It looks like us, but generally, it's not the police. And we take time to send information out because of the sensitivity of it, because of, we may have to first get in touch with the particular parties that are involved, and ensure that what we are doing is something that would not take these parties by surprise. And before you know it, you see it on the papers, you see it on Facebook, and you're thinking it's police, but it's not generally the police.
Understand, because sometimes you think, well, there's a delay in information from the police, but sometimes you have to gather all information first, who needs to be informed and so forth before an official statement is released. And then, folks take the liberty upon themselves. Put out
of
information.
Course. The toilet with the dog with the teeth, it was on social media as a human being found or a body found, but it was not that. And so we have an additional responsibility as a police to send out credible information, fact check, double check, and so that delay will come in, and so people will fill that gap once it's there. So you have to understand these dynamics as well, and people may well have shared information with somebody before. Recall who you will have shared with. Sometimes you take a selfie on social media, you were the person that contributed directly to your information being out there as well. So we all have to self-check, we all have to be mindful, and of course, as we have an extra responsibility as the ASPCA to be confidential.
I would like to offer the opportunity now, maybe to talk to citizens out there who engage in that. To probably cease and desist of that and wait until we get an official release from the police, if you want to go ahead and do that now.
Yes, well, your information is yours, right? So to tell people you cannot share, we understand the constitutional freedom persons have, but you must know the risks that are involved with putting your information out there, and also who you share it with, right? And your personal safety, the safety of your children, and so forth. And then sometimes it is good to share, for example, if you're going on a particular errand and you're going somewhere. So you have to know when to share, when it's for your own safety, when it will improve and enhance your safety. I would say share it with people who you trust. If you're going to a party, or you're going to date with someone, or you're going somewhere, you can tell someone. So if it don't enhance your safety, I would say share it.
Yes.
Right? If it is not, right, I would say desist from doing it for your own protection. Right? So your security, your safety is also your responsibility as well as it is ours.
And then folks who use it via social media for their own personal likes and fame per se.
Yes, and you may well be going just to share your own joy, or go out, you want to share, you're happy, and other persons have other agenda in terms of looking at that information and sourcing it.
All right. And that's in this segment, folks. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to open up the lines. We have a few more minutes left on today's edition. 435-204. When we come back, you may have a question or two you may like to ask the officers in studio. Feel free to do so. When we come back, 435-2041. Don't touch it out.
Campbell.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GPN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GPN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gpn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Welcome back to our listeners and viewers. The lines are now open for you folks, 435-2041, 435. We do already have our first caller. Let me make sure my lines are cleared. 435-2041. may have a little bit of issue there. Let me clear that and come back. 435-204. We also have the WhatsApp and the direct line for you. We do have a WhatsApp caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome. Good morning, caller. WhatsApp caller. Good morning.
The officers.
Good morning.
Morning, GT. Morning, the officers.
Good morning.
GT, my question, my question going to be, how many times that one have to come and make a complaint in the police station before they react? And my part B to that question, or that when a report is made, do they go back to select if the person have a record, and so that an arrest could be made as soon as possible? Because sometimes, like, a lot of people say, like, they've been complaining to the police and the police ignore them. So I just want to know, like, if they go into the record and then something could be done immediately, so we don't end up with some kind of seriousness basically happening, like what we said with the death of the young lady.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Anybody want to respond to the caller?
Well, some calls that are made to the police are actually civil in nature.
Yeah.
So, for example, you might say, okay, somebody bought a fridge, the fridge is not working. So these are the calls where we will advise to maybe seek legal counsel.
So
because police has jurisdiction.
Fridge not working?
Okay, no, I bought a fridge from somebody and it's not working, right? Okay. I want the police to let me get back that fridge.
Okay, maybe
right?
after discussing with whoever they may have purchased from.
Right. So that is a civil complaint, right? Okay. So those we try to refocus. We have jurisdiction over certain offenses, criminal offenses, right? We still try to speak to the parties to avoid conflict, but really and truly. So these calls, we may not respond immediately because we refer you to the appropriate authorities. Okay. But every other call, we are bound to respond, and I think we have a good record of responding, of responding to the calls.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller, you live?
Hi, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir.
And to your followers and to the two officers. Let me say that I'm very proud of the Grenada Police Force. You guys have come a long way in recent years, and I commend you for that, and I think you're trying very well. Crimes are just what they are, and they usually are the result of criminal minds. It is difficult to really predict, and sometimes we try to just generalize or stereotype criminal activity and even try to lay blame. We had, for instance, two recent very heinous crimes. They are similar in the sense that they were both gender-based. We lost two very young, promising women. But they are different crimes. One of them can be categorized as a domestic violence, and the other one is totally different. Somebody just randomly pick someone and brutally kill them. So these things, although in some way they're similar, they are so very different. And we cannot predict people's minds. And sometimes just out of the blue, these things just happen. It just shows that there are people who are sometimes insane. Some of them have temporary insanity because of passion or whatever it is, and these things happen. And what I would like to say, though, it doesn't help when people, especially who have a voice, who they try to score cheap political points about those things. This is very, very sad. Some time ago, there was an upsurge of male against male crimes, a lot of choppings and some gun violence. And then we heard folks saying, unemployment, the guys are frustrated. I'm going to challenge that person to show me or give me a background or profile of the employment status of the people committing the crimes. They had to admit, no, all these guys have jobs. They were fighting in bars and other things like that because they had money. Now, we are hearing a lot of stereotyping, and it does not help you with your work. It doesn't help our society when we're trying to, put a broad sheet over these things and blame somebody for not reacting to the crime in a way that you think they should. Let us, as a country, let us realize what we're going through. Let us together try to see what we can do with our men especially, and also our women. And instead of trying to blame people after the fact, it doesn't help us. But let me say to you guys, you're doing a very good job. Continue to grow, continue to improve. I am proud of what the Grenada Police Force has become. Keep up your good work.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Any response to the caller, or we move on to another caller? We can move on.
For the words of encouragement. Right. Thank you.
We do have another caller. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, officers. At least one of the officers will know who I am. I joined the program late, but I was thinking lately that one of the things that we need to do is help people to understand that the police is a necessary instrument, institution that we need to guard, notwithstanding its origin. Its origin can be questionable in terms of the origin of policing in these parts, but it has become a necessary institution that we need to learn how to respect. What I have found out is that most people, maybe not most, a lot of people have a love-hate relation attitude towards the police. In other words, they seem to have a hatred for police, and also they expect the police to respond to them when they have a problem. And I think it had to do with partly parenting, like we have this love-hate relationship with our parents because they beat us and that kind of thing. We need to help people to get clearly. For instance, when you see a police, there needs to be a certain regard towards that police because he represents a certain order in the state, and not just an individual who we could despise. And I think also that could help. It could be helped if the police evolve a department more, you have community policing. I remember when I was younger, I applied to the police. I passed the exam, but they couldn't deal with the fact that you have to deal with somebody with disability. And up to now, I was treated like almost a non-existent person. And later on, the very thing I wanted to bring to the police came, like in the form of in the institution of the community policing. So I think we need to broaden and be able to that we could access the wisdom, we could access the knowledge of people that are not necessarily crime-oriented. In terms of the study and so on, but they can help to bring insight. Fortunately, the police have asked me in the past, now, to have conversation on a number of topics. Like for instance, they invite me and go off to speak about the environment and that kind of thing. I think we need to encourage more of that, so that there will be that connection with the community. And I don't want to agree with people being spying on each other. Whether the police or whoever, intelligence. But at least we need the police have a central role to play in helping to maintain order. And we need to help people to understand that if there's no order, there'll only be chaos and anarchy. So, like the previous caller, I think the police is evolving. They're responding to situation as it requires. But I think they need to be more intensified in terms of the dynamics, conflict resolution, encouraging dialogue more than confrontation, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much for your contribution also. Any response to the caller? Or is it move on to another?
We just want to say thank you, caller. We appreciate the sentiments.
All right. We do have another caller, which will be our final caller for the morning. We're a wee bit over time. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning and good morning to you.
Good morning to you. I beg of you to be brief, please.
I'll try my best. You need to, this case is last week. I know the individual.
Caller, for some reason we are losing your you.
Right.
Okay, go right ahead.
I'm here. The individual that did the crime, I'm not another person personally. So I did some work with an individual back in the days. So I know what kind of individual he is. But I'm just saying that we need to have a department within the police force to deal with domestic violence. Let me tell you why. When a young girl go make a report on maybe a wife, I make a report on the video. And then after they change their mind and say, no, what officer, I don't want no case because it's my child, father is my child, or whatever. So that department now will have the information and the person make a report. And then that will go directly under domestic violence. And what normally helps, the police officer the police officers, doing periodic check. Maybe stop by the person's house now and then, see how things are going on, make a phone call, maybe check up on them. You know, now and then to see what's going on. Or even if they break up, it's better to see how things are going with the individual. Because sometimes a little encouragement, a little help, a little talking to that individual would go a long way. And some people need to be talking to people to avoid this from trouble. And sometimes they don't know what to talk to. But a police officer can do a lot of help. I go out there. If you have that unit in place, I go out there and talking to the individual. Different cases, because once somebody make a report about a man or a woman, that should fall under domestic violence, that's it. Dealing with that case periodically. I think we need an agency within the police force to deal with that. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Any response? I do have a caller online who's been on hold a wee bit. You want to take it, then we just make one response? Okay, let's take this final caller. This will be our final caller. Caller via WhatsApp, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I'm an American professor, and I visit Grenada quite regularly. I study Caribbean politics and security, so I'm closely following some developments there. And last month, I was surprised when I saw that the U.S. State Department had elevated its travel warning for Grenada and was citing higher crime rates, and especially since I had seen RGPF representatives push back on that characterization. And so I'm trying to find some official crime statistics, whether published monthly or annually, that might shed some light on this. But it seems the RGPF website has been down for some time. So would the officers be able to point me to a more reliable source that could provide some context to those claims, or at least provide citizens with some idea of what these numbers are looking like over time?
Thank you. Any response to the caller?
Yeah, we do have our Criminal Records Office. That is our official statistical office. It is situated on the Coroner at St. George's, right in the same building with headquarters. So I will refer the caller to that department for statistics.
Okay. Caller, I hope you got the info, and you certainly will make some use of that. Hey, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Anything in closing before we take a wrap for today?
Yes, my condolences to the parents of the deceased person, the lady, and we are so heartened by what has happened. We just want to express our condolences to the family. Also, the staff of the Central Division, just want to say thank you to them, and hats off to you for the hard work you've been doing over the year, and also for the beginning of this year. We know that it's a lot, and we just want to say that we do not forget you and your contribution that you are making, and it is not only for us in the organization, but also for the country and our nationals and non-nationals alike. The service that you are providing is something that must be done, and we are grateful to you, and we just want to commend you for all your efforts.
All right. Anything, Inspector Lambert, before we take a wrap for today?
Yeah, I just want to impress on the Grenadian public that security is very important. I always say we have sun, and security is one of our biggest assets. That is what brings people to our shows. That is what boosts our tourism, even our own personal safety. So, sun, security, sun. Let's really work together to improve it, and let security be everybody's business.
All right. So I want to thank you both once again, ASP, of course, Campbell, and of course Inspector Lambert. I want to thank you both for being on the program this morning and sharing information that you shared this morning with our listening and viewing audience. And I certainly hope that all the plans for the Central Division, in terms for the how you forecast in terms of your plans up until 2028, I hope you get through with all of that, and we have a better Grenada next time we come around to have a conversation.
Thank you for partnering with us, GT, you and GBN.
You're so welcome.
Thank you to the listening public.
Hey, folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank all who contributed towards today's program. Thank you so much. Join me again for another edition. That will be tomorrow. That's why I say goodbye.